here with Grace McBride, who recently had a startup microacquired. Grace, how you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. For those that don't know you or your background, do you want to maybe give a quick intro of yourself and maybe add in trip kicks as well?
Yeah, of course. So just some quick background about me. I mean, I started out in college, kind of grabbing little jobs here and there, and I stumbled into a group of other college students selling luxury travel to high net worth individuals. Thought it was really interesting, and I kind of worked at an entrepreneurial environment all through college. It was an awesome experience, but I really decided I wanted to do it on my own. So when I graduated, I started TripKit, which was essentially an assistant service for travel advisors, which if you think about travel advisors today, everyone thinks of like Liberty Travel or, Expedia. And I would say those absolutely are true and absolutely fair assumptions to think about. But when it comes to luxury travel, there's actually a really niche industry out there of assistants and travel advisors out there. So we wanted to cater to that and kind of found a niche there.
Nice. I was looking at the TripKit website before the podcast, and it looks slick. Did you? So you would help high net worth individuals kind of plan trips out? Is that kind of?
Yeah, we actually didn't end up being the ones to plan the trips. We were actually selling B2B to those travel advisors themselves. So we would
Ooh.
help those travel advisors with any of the work that they needed, primarily focusing on the itineraries. So it was a service business. We hired VAs to basically help do that work. And the travel advisors were selling trips to those high net worth individuals, every crazy over the top trip you think you can imagine. We were then putting all the details into a beautiful itinerary to then send to them, and any
That
sort of like back end admin things else they
That's awesome.
very niche.
The reason I asked the high net worth, I'm just wondering if there's any like cool celebrities or like,
Of course, all day
re-
long. Oh
really?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, of course. CEOs,
Well,
celebrities, it was a full plethora of them. And that's why we had to be really careful in the beginning to, make sure that we kept
and you
privacy at
and
the
you,
forefront.
I won't ask you like names or
Mhm.
anything, but was there any customers that you had or clients where you were like, oh my gosh, like I'm a fan or anything like that?
Way too many. Way too many. I can't say exactly who, but I'll say we had a ton of professional athletes, a ton of like not like big bank CEOs or anything like that, but like notable company CEOs, actors, actresses, you name it. We saw a lot of them. Got to meet some in person even. That
What?
was more when I was actually planning travel, but yeah, it was pretty epic.
Man, I've only met like three celebrities in my lifetime. So I envy you. That's a nice perk of a startup, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for all of them, very, very normal people, which was kind of a nice surprise. You're just planning someone's trip. They want to go on a trip with their family, and it just happens to be a really, really, really cool trip.
That's awesome. I'm envious of the trips they probably took.
Yeah.
So tell me about your experience on MicroAcquire. You list TripKit on MicroAcquire. Walk me through just kind of how that went.
Yeah, I think in the beginning we kind of flirted with the idea of selling Trip Kit. We were working on another project at the time because we were just excited about a bunch of different things at once, and knew that we built a really strong project. So we had actually been introduced by someone else who'd been micro acquired, and they had sold
Mm,
their SaaS kind of service business. Had done really well, and they were really excited about it. It was another student at Notre Dame while I was getting my MBA, and he kind of told me about it. And it's like, oh, I haven't heard about this. Let me take a look, and got introduced to the website. And pretty shortly after, got signed up and started poking around. Pretty shortly after, we then found that you could, work with brokers and things like that. So we actually collaborated with a broker on the site to kind of get our profile to look really good and make sure that we had all the right numbers and things like that, because I really didn't know what a buyer would be looking for. Now I think you've released some tools actually that helps a lot of that. So I think I missed out on some of those newer tools like your LOI tool and everything like that. But yeah, we got pretty much posted and sold within a couple months pretty quickly after.
that's so awesome to hear. And
Yeah.
Yeah, the we got some more fun tools coming
I know,
soon.
I
So
just missed the window. We'll have to get
uh,
the next one up there soon.
well, hey, you got acquired, so that's all that matters.
Exactly.
So tell me about so how many buyers reach out?
Oh my gosh. So we had hundreds reach out. We had to sift
Whoa,
through, yeah, we had a lot. I think maybe because luxury travel got people really excited.
yeah,
We had been contacted by well over 100. We didn't get to meet with everyone by any means. We kind
mm,
of sifted through.
that would take like weeks.
Oh my gosh, no, we couldn't do it. So we had the broker actually help us sift through some of the inquiries, but we ended up meeting with probably well over 30 or 40 people.
Nice. How did you? Okay, so you have that's a good amount of buyers. How did you land
Yeah.
on the buyer that ended up acquiring the company? What did they do that maybe appealed to you? Maybe
Mhm.
the purchase price. Maybe they were polite. What about them stood out? Kind of made you feel like that would be the person to sell the company to.
Yeah, I think we had kind of one really clear goal and that we wanted to sell to someone that had the same values as us and same ethos and had the same kind of goal to grow this company. And we found a lot of really great buyers that were looking to maybe acquire it into their current company or scale it in a different way. And those are all very valid reasons to buy our company. But we just felt like we were servicing a very niche industry that really relied on our company. So we wanted to make sure that we could still service them with whoever took it over. So we met,
That
yeah,
that's awesome. So you sold essentially to someone, and that's a great way for buyers to stand out as well as sometimes it's not just the price.
yeah,
You I could tell you got some passion for travel and
yeah,
you don't want to just sell to someone who's gonna, just destroy or ruin the reputation of the business. So that's something buyers I think can really leverage if they have experience in that industry or just kind of outlining that they're going to keep your vision intact and so that's awesome. I guess moving into maybe arguably maybe the not so fun parts. How did due diligence go for you? How did you handle that?
yeah.
uh,
Definitely less
y-
fun to have to go into that for sure. But it wasn't too bad. And I'll only say that because again, I feel like we were prepared by the time we had put everything onto micro acquired, it kind of forced us to get everything, like get all of our ducks in a row, if that makes sense. Made
that's
us, you know,
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say that's literally the smartest thing you can do when selling a
yeah,
business is just be prepared.
yeah,
Because when you get to due diligence, if the buyer has everything to already go through like a deal or excuse me, data room, it just makes the whole process so much faster. So that was
yeah.
kudos to you on that.
It also made us, this may sound like an obvious thing, but for a small business owner, it's not so obvious until you're really in it. We really were still doing things here and there that are not sellable. So we were saying yes to projects here and there that maybe weren't something that the next buyer would be willing to do. And we finally, when we got serious about selling, we had to really hone in on exactly what we were selling to the buyer, make sure that we weren't saying yes to ancillary projects, make sure everyone was paying our subscription price and not getting any crazy discounts anymore. And we really had to like shed some of the kind of nonsense that was going on that we were letting happen over the last 3 years. And it really, really, really made the business take a step up. We actually ended up dramatically increasing our revenue just by getting ready to sell. So that's my biggest lesson from the whole process. Kind of setting in those systems and making sure everything's up to snuff. It actually really benefited us from a revenue standpoint as well.
That's awesome. It can kind of due diligence in a way can kind of make you look at your business from like a third party perspective. Like,
Of course.
yeah, we shouldn't be doing like 90% discounts or like, yeah, that service isn't profitable. Like there's a number of different things that you just as a founder, you just kind of will take on just to
Of
keep
course.
momentum in the business. And it's always hard to say no to a customer. So that's awesome. So basically preparing to sell your business helped you grow your business. Did I get that right?
Helped me grow my business, helped us sell it, but also in the next company is helping us set it up the right way. I definitely wish we set the business up from the beginning as if we were preparing to sell it. Even if we weren't, it's a mentality that I wish we had the whole way through because it really does benefit you when you're kind of, like you said, looking at it through a third party.
Yeah, that's the beauty of starting a second company is you kind of learn,
Yeah.
hey, that we should have done that maybe, at the beginning and stuff like that. Helps you avoid other mistakes. Okay. And then I guess my next question would be is in terms of, a lot of, founders might be listening to this with companies and thinking, this sounds awesome. Like maybe I should start doing due diligence on my own business and preparing it for sale. What are maybe some tips you would give to a founder looking to
Mm.
sell their business on Microwire?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest thing is to really focus in on how profitable you actually are. Make sure that you're really, really paying attention to those metrics and really paying attention to your finances the way that you think you are before you're selling. But really, when you go through diligence, it forces you to get really serious about it. And my entire team are very like financially focused, making sure we kept track of the numbers and everything. But when we had to really lay out, this is what our profitability margin is, this is how much our labor costs, this is what all our ancillary costs are, this is our monthly kind of excess costs, those things, and kind of getting prepared to look at those. That was something that we really had to swallow in the beginning because we were kind of just thinking, oh, well, this is about where our profit margin is. But until you really set aside those numbers, that was something that we should have done sooner. It would have benefited us when we were selling, so we could have sold for a higher price probably if we had paid attention to that earlier. And that makes me sound like we weren't paying attention to our finances, because that's just not true. But it just means you have to be stricter with yourself. So that's something that we had to take for account then. But also, obviously, staying organized. It's a lot of work to pull out paperwork from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, financial documents from every credit card, every bank
Yeah.
statement. It's a lot of work. So
I,
if you don't have some accountant like keeping track of this diligently, I mean, the amount of work, coding every expense, making sure that it falls under the right category, it's just a tremendous workload if you don't do it from the beginning.
Yeah, we write a lot about due diligence. So if anyone listening is just curious about what is due diligence, what questions are commonly asked, I don't know if you ever checked out the resources that we provide, but
Yeah.
for anyone listening, check that out because it can be overwhelming, but once you kind of grasp it, it gets a lot easier. And it sounds like you did a fantastic job. I'll tell you a funny story about when I sold my first company. I had to go through, so it was an 8-year company.
Mhm.
So I needed to hand over every NDA I had ever signed, basically everything. And the funniest part during due diligence was I had an NDA signed with the buyer as a private equity group from maybe 6 years ago. And I had to give it to them like, hey, we've met before. Maybe we can make something happen this time around. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Kind of pulling things out
basically,
of everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, just keeping a folder available with everything and just keeping, good house cleaning for your company is something I always recommend. But I got a hunch you're working on something new and I wanna hear it. What is it?
I can't help myself. Yeah, and again, hindsight's 2020, and that's kind of what I love about, being able to sell the first business and work on another one, because you kind of get to take the learnings with you. But yeah, working on a new company in the same industry. If I can stay in this industry forever, I will. But we're working on a freelancer marketplace that allows you to not just outsource, itineraries, but actually outsource any sort of concierge details when you're travel planning. So now we're not doing itineraries, but all of the travel planning process instead. So being able to provide freelancers in the marketplace is kind of where we're leaning into now.
Nice. I love marketplaces.
There,
That
you can tell I'm
that that
joking.
that was that was
I
a
feel like
dry
most
dry
people.
dad joke.
Yeah,
Microfiles
no,
amazing.
I will say, didn't really know we were building a marketplace when we started, but we kind of ended up growing one, and you definitely learn a lot even in that type of business. Like, our first one was more service based, but because this one's tech, it's just a whole other animal.
Nice. So how would it work? Let's say I wanted to go to Croatia.
Mhm.
Would I be
You'd
able
be
to go?
able, yeah, you'd be able to go onto our platform, hire someone with either that expertise or something that you might like about their experience, their ratings, etc. And you can basically use them to do anything from dinner reservations, searching hotels, getting advice on transportation, literally anything you want.
Oh man, I'm gonna. Sorry, what's the name of the company again?
It's called Lucia.
Lucia. Okay, I'll put it in the show notes because I'm the type of person when I plan, I just book the
Mm.
flight and figure it out from there.
Yeah,
But
which is totally fine. But you might want a little bit of help sometimes from
I
someone
do, I
who
do. I'm
knows.
just, I
Yeah.
number one, I don't know how. I don't know anyone in
Fair.
Croatia at the moment.
Fair. We do.
to
We'll help you out.
yeah, see that I really like that concept. I think I grasp it.
Yeah.
And then I guess for final questions, I'm gonna throw some random ones at you. Is that
Hit
okay?
me with it. Yeah, go for it.
All right. So these ones are just off the top of my head, but if you could take any trip and let's say it's a two-stop destination, so you go to one place and then you
Mhm.
immediately go to the next place, what would it be? And if you could bring one person, who would it be?
Mm.
That's a
On the
very
layover in
common.
particular, that's a very I thought you were going a very different angle with that question. Who would I bring? Oh, it'd have to be my co-founder. Is that cheesy to say?
No,
She's
not at all.
super entertaining and we spend every day together already. So we just we keep each other entertained on flights all the time. So I definitely have to say her.
Nice. Okay. And then the two locations, where would you go? Like, would
Oh,
it be like a Vegas to New York trip, or would it be like a Italy to Greece trip,
mm.
or
Yeah, I just got back from a week-long conference in Vegas, so I'm gonna say no Vegas for me. Um,
yep,
I'm good with Vegas for a while.
yep, I'm in the no
I'm
Vegas club
good.
too. Yep.
I'm good. And it was for work too. I'd say right now I'm gonna choose two places I haven't been to because I always try to go to new places. I definitely want to try Dubai. That's always somewhere I've really wanted to go, and New Zealand. Those are not near each other, but I think I could pull off the long flight.
Nice. Yeah, I've actually always wanted to go. I talked to someone recently that told me a story about basically how there's all these really high-end luxury cars just stuck in Dubai. And I
Yeah.
always assumed it was because people were wealthy and they would just leave them. But it
hmm
was actually because I guess during the '08 financial crash, they couldn't pay off the cars. So they would
Yeah.
just flee the country and then they wouldn't have a car or have to pay for it, I guess, or something like that. So
Yeah,
they're just like,
ironically now we need like a ton of rental cars in like Hawaii. So if we can get them over to Hawaii somehow
yeah,
because I
the
can't find a tour
Lamborghinis and the
company
Ferrari.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Second question. If you were stuck on an island and you could only bring one book and one item, what would those two things be?
Oh man, I mean, my favorite book is How to Win Friends and Influence People, but if I'm alone on an island, I don't know if that's really going to help me. So I'd have to say, oh man, I really love Ariana Huffington's Thrive. So that one would probably be top book for me. And then item to bring with me. Again, I'm a reader, so I'll just bring the Kindle. I'll bring the rest of the books.
Nice, good answer. And then in terms of, I started my career in entrepreneurship in college, so I admire you getting into entrepreneurship early because that's, in my opinion, the best time to do it. Do you have any advice you'd give for student entrepreneurs? Just go for it.
Yeah, I would say yes, go for it with an asterisk. I definitely agree with you. Yeah, right.
That's
I
like the hardest
definitely
part. Just start.
I agree with you that it's the best time to start a business, without a doubt, because you have no responsibilities for the most part if you're lucky enough to not have to worry about, working yet full time, or maybe that is your way to work full time. For me, I did need to, so that was kind of my way to do it. But also, and it'll force you to be profitable from day one, that kind of stuff. But the asterisk I would say is it's really easy in the beginning to think in college, like you're right by this amazing idea you came up with, like you must be right. And I just didn't have like the world knowledge yet to know if I was right or wrong. So I'd say just do your due diligence. Of course, when you're starting a new company, you want to do the research and make sure it's something people need and you have product market fit. But if you're going to invest your own capital and a ton of your own time, I would definitely say just make sure that you can find a profitable business in there somewhere.
I love that. The tip I would give, which I don't recommend, but what I did was I took a fifth year in college so I
Mhm.
can get financial aid to pay for my rent and
Yeah.
food. And then I minored in entrepreneurship, didn't go
Mhm.
to any classes and started a business instead.
Can I tell you, I might have done something very similar recently when I went back
Yeah.
and got my MBA.
Yeah.
I literally went back to get my MBA because I thought I'm starting a new company. I loved starting a company in college. It provides so many resources and so much protection from like the real world. No one really expects anything of you yet, but you also have like these brilliant professors around you that can give you feedback and a ton of like free help, etc. I mean, I could go on about the resources that I got there. You just have to take advantage of them. So I low key did that over the last year. and grew the company while getting my MBA for that reason.
That's so smart. I
I was the
graduated.
worst student, but
I was too. My entrepreneurship teacher, I would kind of joke with him. I came into class candidly, like, "Hey, I'm starting this company, and that's the only reason why I'm in these. I'm gonna stop in." And
yeah,
sometimes I'd show up for 5 minutes. I'd be like, "Just want to let you know I'm still alive. I'm gonna
yeah,
go work on something." And he was really supportive. And we had a really good entrepreneurship program. I could candidly say I don't think I'd be where I am today without the sport. I went to Chico State. It wasn't
mhm.
we call it the Harvard of the West, but sorry for another time. Uh, um,
I mean, it's true though, like, no matter what you kinda get out of it, you kind it seems like you leaned into it and got what you needed, you know? So, whatever works for you, I guess. I mean,
it
I did the same thing. I went up to all my entrepreneurship professors day 1 and my finance and my accounting and all my other professors, and I was like, "I gotta be honest with you, I'm running a business full time right now. I'll be here every once in a while, and I'm sorry for all my professors who might, like, find this and hear this. I'm really sorry." But, I would show up and say, I'm really busy. I'm gonna have to step out for calls. I'm gonna have to miss some days. Please don't fail me, but, like, I know I'm not getting an A. If there's any way I can help you, let me know, but that's just kinda my reality right now, and they were great about it. They probably shouldn't have been, but, like, they were awesome.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congrats to you and congrats on everything. Thanks so much for joining me on this podcast. If people want to just learn more about your new company or follow you online, where can they find
Yeah, of course. You can find me, of course, in my email and, happy to share it. But my website is letslucia.com. You can find me there or email me as well. Just grace@letslucia.com.
you? Sounds good. I'll put that in the show notes. All right, Grace, this has been a pleasure and congrats on all your
Thank you.
success. And I'm looking forward to seeing how far your next company goes.
Thank you. And thanks for helping make it happen.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, it's all you. All right, see ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.